This just in. Welcome to In the Library of Graphic Literature with your anchor host, Wallace Ryan.
Yay! In the green chair. I was out in the green room waiting for it. And we were both wearing green because it's St. Patty's Day. Yay!
Well, actually, it's St. Gertrude's Day.
Yeah,
Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, so happy St. Gertrude's Day.
She's patron saint of cats.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
And, as big cat lovers, we, of course, celebrate St. Gertrude. I'd forgotten about that until you brought it up. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know until you brought it up.
Yeah, there's not many saints I really care about.
And Gertrude is a cool one.
Yes.
But Patrick, and not only that, we have, besides the fact that we're wearing green, we have a lot of Irish people in this part of Newfoundland. My folks came over in 1860, not my parents, but their parents.
People think we're related because we both have an Irish nose.
Look at this hogger. Look.
We got the knob.
Yeah, people have mistakenly tried to open my face, right, thinking it was a doorknob. But today, and in celebration, I guess, in a way of St. Patty's Day,
Is it?
more. Yeah, I guess so, because I'm gonna try to relax. I'll do some work, but I'm gonna take the day off mostly and sit around like a sloth. And so I went over to.
That's a sin in like 4 religions.
I know, but of course St. Patty's Day you're allowed to, right? But over in that corner of the studio, which you were poking around the couple of shows ago, essentially, I guess the graphic novel section and miscellaneous, I just went over and I picked out 10 books. Okay, if I could read all 10 of these books in the single day, what would be the 10 books for St. Patty's Day? Now, of course, there's not a lot of shows or a lot of comics done about Ireland per se that I could think of. I mean, I guess if I really thought about it, I could come up with, but not a lot came to mind. So I figured, just what would I read, Irish or not? See, look, I'm doing the Tyrannosaurus. That's my new dance. Anyway, so I picked out 10, and they're varying. They're all good, interesting books. A couple of them are very quick reads. I thought about that too, and 1 or 2 sort of slightly longer ones. But otherwise, shall we begin the parade?
Yeah, let's start the show.
Okay, boom. Okay, this one is
Gentleman Jim
by
by Raymond Briggs.
Now, I like Raymond Briggs. He died about a year or so ago, but he was one of my favorite
Ooh, that's nice.
people. Oh yeah. Just his drawing style was simple, but really there it is. And it's about Jim, the whole book, and I love it. There's just something very quaint and cute about it. It's kind of like the old man in your neighborhood who everyone likes and all that. But like me, let's see what it says here. One of the first graphic novels ever published. Oh. From the author of Ethel and Ernest and When the Wind Blows. Both great books. But yeah, I was always a big fan of his. I got several of his books. I had a copy actually of Ethel and Ernest, and I lost it down in New York when I was living there. And When the Wind Blows, I actually bought that in the 1980s. Oh, look at that. And he has, like you say, almost a very deceptive styles.
Ooh, that looks like someone.
So when I first started reading it, When the Wind Blows, which is more about atomic warfare and all that, with this deceptive style, at first it looked kind of, like some kind of quaint.
Very sus.
But in the end, it just turned out to be, oh my God, a traumatizing piece of graphic literature. But that was kind of nice to read anyway. Next up, and it's funny because who was it? Oh, Sam did mention this book, and because he was trying to find a copy and it's out of print or whatever, and I said, well, I have a copy, so drop by the library and you can have a read. Way to go, Sam. And this is from Daryl Cunningham.
How to Fake a Moon Landing.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Exposing the myths of science denial. Now, there's not only there's a couple of things in this. There's the moon hoax, homeopathy, vaccination, yada, yada, yada. There's all of he does a bunch of them in this. A lot of times he just sticks to one subject. But what I like about this, he piles them all into one, and his part about the moon hoax, it's just savage. It goes through every single point that these hoaxsters bring up about the moon landing thing, and he destroys it bit by bit, all right? And like, talk about, in the background you can't see any stars, and it's just like, well, as a photographer, I have to explain to you how to, how to know what's left in this world. But he goes through every one of their various things that they brought up and just basically demolishes them. Because we did land on the moon. It would cost us much more to have faked it than to have actually gone, which we did. And we did pretty easily. As a matter of fact, they did it. The lunar lander had less computer power than your telephone.
Which is why people don't believe it.
Yeah.
But there's marks.
Yeah. But see the calculation and everything like that were all pre-made and all that, and they were just basically, they were simple mathematic functions, right? So it wasn't anything big. They didn't have like
this. It was simple mathematical
Oh yeah,
functions.
but they didn't have
It is
touch.
rocket science.
Yeah, but back then too, they didn't have like a touch screen to touch things. They had to basically key in stuff and all that. Now this is actually by an author who's usually very funny. Hate. Actually, if I had thought of that, I would have called that down. Maybe we'll do a box of books show. That's it. The next one. Like, see all the box sets? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, and I know there are other box 6. Bet you I got, 7. I can see a few. So I've got a bunch of box sets. That's it. We're highly creative here. Anyway, this is one of my favorite books by Peter Bagge.
Woman Rebel, the Margaret Sanger story.
And this is about the woman who founded Planned Parenthood. So it's a great read. Peter Bagge I love for his comedic. He's usually a comedic writer and all that, but he's done a few lately. Basically more like true life stories and all that. And this one is just so well worth reading. It's just like, talking about contraception and stuff like that. I mean, my God, it's just like, if you're against abortion, you can't be against birth control, right? To me, it's just don't make sense. But anyway, this is a very well written book. It's one of my favorite non-funny books by Peter Bagge. Now this one here, this guy, he has a real cutesy poo type of style of drawing, and it is
The Treasury of Victorian Murder, Compendium 2.
Yeah, and I picked this one because I like the stories in this. This is Rick Gary. He he has this really cutesy style of illustration and all that. But it's basically he goes through all the different parts of whatever case. This is like the Lizzie Borden one, and he's quite.
Lizzie Borden took in and gave her mother 40
knee wax. Now I don't think she gave her 40 wax.
I can't remember how.
but well, that's how that's how the thing goes. But in reality, I don't know how many she got off. And look, what I like, he does little maps like this to show you where the murder took place.
Oh yeah.
So this is really cool. This is why I like his books, because he gives you these little maps showing you, where the murder took place, and generally other little maps if necessary. So they're great little stories, and he has great. But they've been well researched too. Reading them, he's based them on news accounts or whatever, different ones from different things. But I mean, I know a lot about a lot of these stories, so. And reading they're very accurate to what I've seen. Oh, like this one, the Benders. Was a family of 4, so-called family that settled out. I think it was in Kansas or somewhere out west, and they ended up murdering people in their little hotel for their money. And they vanished one day. There's rumors whether or not they were caught up to by vigilantes or whether they just disappeared. But they dug up. There were a lot of people left behind anyway. But this one I like because it has like a bunch of great stories. This one has the Lizzie Borden, the Bloody Benders, and the Murder of Lincoln. A couple other ones, but there are three really good ones. Speaking of...
When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
And the funny thing is, she liked her father. She had respect for her father and all that, but she didn't like her mother-in-law. It's quite true. But it's, having read a lot about it, it could either be he is either guilty of sin, or someone happened to come along at the right time and murder these people just because there was someone else sighted in the area. So, that's why she got off, right? It was like the O.J. Simpson trial of the 1800s, right? Now this one here, this is another, and this one actually, Jason Conway, Jason even said to me, he never understood the story of Kent State until he read this book. And then I read it through, and it's very well done. It's about a shooting in the late 60s at Kent State University in Fort Ed in Ohio. There was a song. Did Neil Young write it, or was it Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? Anyway, Kent State. It was like one of the very meaningful parts of the war. It's when the public really started to turn on the Vietnam War, and these guys opened fire on a crowd of innocent people, and they killed 4 people in the crowd. And of course, everyone. There's kind of like what the photograph kind of looks like. That's the famous photograph, right? And oh yeah, it's just like, geez, talk about a way to turn the whole nation against you. But it's very, very well done. It goes through every part of what happened. It gives great information. Oh, this is by Durf Backdurf, who does great ones. He also did My Friend Dahmer, which they turned into a movie, and it's a very, very good book. But this one is, especially if you've heard about Kent State and the Vietnam War, but you don't know a lot about it, this is the first stop on your way to figuring it out. But yeah, it's a nice one. Kent State. There were a lot of arguments over that over dinner tables during the 60s, right? Oh, whew.
What do we have here?
Now, what we have here, this is, it's like a mixture to me between Tintin and the drawing style of Calvin and Hobbes.
I can see that.
This is a guy, Toulouse.
Murder by High Tide by Gil Gordon, private detective.
Yeah. And now the artist was Toulouse. What's his first name? I can't remember. I got a couple of books by this guy actually, and the drawing style, like I say, it's really weird. It's the drawing style itself. I mean, I love the story. It's a great murder mystery, but the drawing style reminded me of Calvin and Hobbes for some reason. And I was sure that the guy who did Calvin and Hobbes must have been a fan of this guy, right? Because I'm sure he would have been able to get some of this artwork over here at the time. But this guy is very well known. I do believe he was Belgian. I think Maurice Toulouse, Belgium, yes. So he was right up there with I guess I don't know if he was pals with Hergé or not, but this was sort of, I love him. I got two books by this guy, so I highly recommend it. But the art style, like I say, is what I like the best. It has definitely a cartoony, European cartoony style. But I'm sure that I just had this feeling every time I've read it that Watterson must have liked this guy. Or read it and he just got absorbed into him. Now this is by a guy who actually turned out, Peter Morisi. He's an artist. He actually ended up being a cop. This is this guy's a private detective, though. This is the one-eyed, two-fisted Chicago private eye stars in these explosive episodes. And Morisi himself, like I say, I think it was him, ended up as a police officer for many years. He got out of comics and he got into got into police work. I do believe. Let me see here now. Oh, it doesn't say anything here, but I'd read it somewhere about that. Wow. Oh yeah, there he is. So but it's a great story. They're great little. They're like something out of the 1930s in terms of film. And the style is very, but I like the style because it's nice and clean, and nothing fancy, but but good old fashioned private detectives. And this guy, he doesn't care if someone gets killed, as a result of their having done bad deeds and they end up getting killed. He's just like, oh well, who cares type of thing, right? But yeah. I actually really like this Johnny Dynamite. There was another company, PS Art Books. They released a collection of these, but they're the exact same comics. So, but anyway, we're down to our last three here, and this one I had to because I love P. Craig so much. This is The Graveyard Book by Gaiman and Russell. I love this. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Russell for his artwork alone, and this was one of my favorite of his. I'm not sure if there's and there's other people: Kevin Nolan, Tony Harris, Scott Hampton, Galen Showman, Jill Thompson, Stephen Scott, and David LaFuente. So yeah, I guess a bunch of people helped him out, but I'm assuming that P. Craig did the layouts for it because even though it's drawn by other people, parts of it still feels like a book of his, because he did the layouts. But yeah, ooh, hear that crack. But great story. This is one of my favorite, actually, books of the collaboration. This won a
looks like one of mine.
I think it won a Newbery Award. What's that?
Sure, that's not mine.
Oh yeah, because I gave you the two. It came out in two books at first.
Oh.
And when I got the one book that contained both of them, I didn't want to double dip, and see, now you loved it so much, why not? And now we're closing in, and this here, I had to go with this one. This one is
Asterios.
Polyp. It's a really weird comic. This guy, David Mazzucchelli, he was best known at the time for doing...
There's two kinds of polyps. There's butt polyps, and then there's polyps that grow in the sea.
Yeah. We won't talk about the butt polyps.
So which polyp are we talking about here?
Well, that's his name, the character's name in this.
Oh.
So we get to avoid all that. But this guy, Dave Mazzucchelli, who did the drawing, he was best known for the Batman Year One.
It's an unfortunate name. It's like being named Mule.
Yeah, type of thing. Yeah. But this graphic novel is great just for its treatment of color, like the use. Even just flipping through, you can see there's basically like a color vocabulary throughout most of it. Right?
Oh no, it's a dude.
Yeah.
That's what a pimple on a donkey's butt is called.
Anyway, listen. Get back to this here. Asterios Polyp. Okay, I'll get. I haven't read this in a long while, so I'd have to really reread it. But it's absolutely amazing. I mean, like I say, check out the colors alone. I'll do a close up. But he'd done a famous Batman story with Frank Miller, Year One. It was basically used for a lot of the Batman stuff from then on, and he was most famous for that. But then he came out with this book, and this does not look like his work at all. It looks like someone completely different doing it. But, I mean, it won all kinds of awards the year it came out. Because it was just, I mean, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, simply drawn, but...
Very nice palette.
Yeah, and it changes according to characters and situations, everything like that. So that was the one cool thing about this. There are a lot of colorists learned a lot and got a lot of ideas from this book alone, I think, right? Plus the way he uses spot color sometimes, and then different ways of doing color was a bloody masterpiece. And I like the cover. It's just this piece of paper wrapped around here, but look.
It's embossed.
But it's also a really cheap looking cardboard too. And this is the first printing of it too. Still one of my favorite graphic novels. I can't remember when this came out. It was 2000s or let's see. Let us poke through the. But yeah, just even the opening pages, stuff like that. Well, it gets right into it. Okay, it's probably at the back here. Oh, here we go. 2009. So, a long time ago. I remember that year. Now, we're at the end. The last book. It is. Are you ready? Okay.
Doc Savage.
Jazz hands. Now, Doc Savage, he was a character from the 30s pulp magazines and all that, and he was sort of popular. I think I know there was a radio show done about him. I can't remember if there were movies done, but I think there was a serialized of it done years ago. But it was, he was one of the great pulp heroes. But in the 70s, he sort of, because of Conan and other pulp things, The Shadow and all these other ones becoming popular, they resurrected old Doc Savage. And he's kind of a cool character. He's like part Batman, part not Punisher. He's like a scientist, a genius, but he's built. He's 6 foot tall, golden skin. He looks like a god or whatever, and he's like a Superman in a way, right? And he has his crew of people who help him out, and and this let's look here, yeah. There's all the guys who help him out: Monk, Ham, Rennie, Long Tom, and Johnny. And there he is. And he's like I say, he's like this Zen master type of thing. Well, like I say, he's obviously some kind of almost Superman-esque type of figure. As a matter of fact, there's a great shot from there. As a matter of fact, there was a movie came out at the time. I'm not sure if it was ever successful. This guy actually just died recently. But like I say, he was supposed to be like a Superman, a super action hero type of guy. And I loved it as a kid. Now these were the magazines. These are all in black and white and gray. And these appeared as magazines, not as comic books. So they could have more. I guess there's no real nudity in it or anything like that. Oh, look, here's one of the issues that started me buying it. Because as a kid, I came across this and looked, oh wow, this looks almost like James Bondish. So I bought it and I got into the Doc Savage. Then I bought the old books and all that, and I started buying this. And it was all, the first issue was done by John Buscema and Tony DeZuniga, I think, and then I think all the rest of them were done by Tony by himself, and there might have been a Ernie Try mixed in with that. Anyway, let me see. Yeah, basically. Tony inked them anyway. But yeah, anyway, it was always one of my favorite of the Marvel magazines from the 70s. Marvel did some cool magazines, and this was definitely one of them. And this collects them all in one big happy volume. But yeah, so even though it says Archives 1, there was only one episode. But yeah, it's definitely worth picking up. Might as well show the people what they're going to get if they buy it. But great stories. Great. If you like high adventure, I guess, what is it? Raiders of the Lost Ark style type of stories, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely worth buying. And I guess, and that is number 10. Ooh, yay! I didn't have them in any particular order. They were just 10 books that I would have picked off that shelf if I was going to sit back and just read all tomorrow, which unfortunately I can't because there are some things I have to get done. So that's about that. I think next week we will do the box books that come in boxes.
We also have lots of books upstairs, like boxes of books. So
Yeah,
we might
but-
do unboxings of
Yeah,
boxes.
yeah. Well,
Unboxing of books.
haul one down and have a look at it there, just out of haul one out of the
See what you got in there.
the storeroom next door. I
See
mean, my
what
bedroom.
Wallace got hiding away.
So check us out anyway. It should be fun. And happy St. Patrick's Day and St. Gertrude's Day to everyone out there. Yay! Of course, hello to our cats, Loki, Lila, and little Raya. They're doing
Rayla.
Rayla. We're starting to let them out more with each other at first because they were there's a little bit of conflict going on. But now they've become one happy, rambunctious family. I'll set on destroying this house by themselves, right? It's funny because it's the little one. It's funny. She seems to make the most noise when I'm here during the day, and I'll hear a crash of things and stuff like that. And I'll go into the bathroom and there's something knocked over, and she's just sitting there too, almost like, no, wasn't me. But she's such a cutie, isn't she? That being said, I guess it's time for us to take a break and go have a cup of coffee, cup of tea. Yay! We'll see you next Monday. We love you. Bye!